Good morning, traders, and welcome to Phoenix Blues Morning Update. Hope you're all very well this morning. My name is Nishal Patel, and I'm going to be taking you through a quick update for today's markets. Just giving you a backdrop of what's happening. First things first, just starting off on the global indexes. As we can see, we're starting from the Americans, Dow Jones and S&P slightly down. That was carried forward onto the Asian market session or the Asian session, and what we can see is we can see the Nikkei and the Hang Seng dropping slightly, ASX rising. The Nikkei dropped predominantly more than anything else over the last day and a half from a degree of profit taking. Obviously, we did see a surge in the Nikkei that has obviously been helped by the yen pushing on. Moving on forward, just having a quick look at today's announcements. We do have some key data out today, especially from the USD. Do have our fortnightly unemployment claims coming out a little later this afternoon. Remember, this time that it's been displayed is in GMT. So this is for the European session more than anything else in terms of time. If you want to ensure that you have the correct times, then please look at a calendar, a forex or an economic calendar that can give you a better backdrop of the times that are related to yourself. Moving on forward, I think what we should do is just have a quick look at the charts right now. The one chart that is very curious to me is this chart here. It's the daily time frame we're observing right now on cable or GBP USD. As we can see, cable right now is floating at 1.2470s, so it's just in the low 70s right now, floating at 73 range, and that's just coming off the high that we had saw towards the tail end of last week, coming up to that 1.2670s area, coming crashing back down again. I wouldn't say crashing back down, and nothing in comparison to a lot of the other currencies out there. Let's not forget, and I think what we should do is we should observe our dollar index. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick over to this dollar index just so you guys can see what's happening, what's really been happening at the dollar. Right now, the dollar currently is floating just above the 100 mark on this index. As we can obviously see, since last week's election, we most certainly have had a strong greenback or a strong US dollar come around, and that's coming. It's coming more than anything else. Initially, we had uncertainty with the election of Donald Trump in the president's seat. Remember, his inauguration is in January 2017. But definitely what the market has responded to is many of his potentially expansionary fiscal policies that he most certainly looks to start off as he comes into his seat as president, and he will most certainly look to push a lot of these expansionary fiscal policies into the US. That will obviously in turn cause an increase in inflation, and what we will most likely see is potentially continued hikes on the interest rate. But first things first, what it does is it gears up the Fed for a most probable and definitive rate hike come December. We're only a few weeks away now, just shy of three weeks, potentially a month away from that key data out from the Fed. So as we can see, the dollar is pushing on very strongly. As we've seen on cable, what we've seen is a slight retracement off those highs that we saw towards the back of last week. But this is it's very different, and it's most certainly showing the underlying strength of cable right now. Let's not forget that GBP or the sterling has taken a huge drop over the last few months, in particularly the last 2 quarters of this year. and we are at record low levels, especially in the last 20 odd years. So cable seems to be at a bottom, as we've seen here on this weekly time frame. We saw it consolidating, and then it's literally broken out of that just now. Well, if we look at other currencies, as we can see, just moving on to the daily time frame on the euro has shown definitive weakness all the way through, and no signs of pulling back whatsoever. We're just starting to see a slight correction now off the US dollar, as we saw on that dollar index. We've seen that slight correction onto the euro. Euro is floating at 1.072625 circa. Yen is still climbing, still looking to push on to that 110 area that many people are looking at for the yen to climb to. Remember, when you do see the yen is very much what we like to call the widowmaker trade. So if you try and pinpoint certain areas of the yen, and you see it go against you, it will continue to go against you, because when it does go into a rally, it really starts shifting gears in that rally. So be very, very careful. Please don't try and short the yen till at least we've broken that 110 area. And I know a lot of people may have tried to short the yen, especially at the 106, 107 area. Just wait for the dollar weakness to start coming coming about before we start seeing any kind of push off it. So that's the yen. Just moving on forward now, I think what we'll have a look at is WTI. WTI right now floating at 46. So just looking at WTI on this daily time frame, as we see after hitting these lows around the 43 mark, it's something that I was targeting previously. But did not take from the break of the 44 because of the uncertainty in the marketplace. Did drive down to that. It has corrected itself now. We did have inventories from the US come out a little better than, or a little higher than expected. And that's obviously had a knock-on effect to the price. Very slight movement, but just slightly up today at $46.24 on the barrel. Obviously, what we should do is have a look at another key commodity. We're just having a look at gold right now on the troy ounce. Just flicking over to the daily time frame, because as we've seen a huge jump from last week's election to now. We've seen over $100 knocked off per troy ounce. So that's every 29 grams. On the price of gold, so gold floating at 12.28.29, coming off key areas of levels of support and resistance that I've just highlighted on my chart. As we see, we've just slightly missed it. Market's premeditated a key level there, and it's just literally stopped short of it, and then come off it, building into what looks to be a symmetrical triangle, more of a descending triangle, if I'm honest, because of the flat tops here, and we could probably find a level of support and resistance, most likely on that 4-hourly time frame. So potentially for it to carry on falling a little more, and most certainly if we do get some dollar strength, we will see that change in value as well. So okay, guys, a lot to look out for. A lot of key announcements. The market is still very jumpy off the back of last week's presidential election. No easy trades out there, as to speak, for those novices or even those intermediate traders. The markets are obviously making you work a little harder for your returns this week, and off the tail of last week. Probably looking forward to the start of next week for some key levels to start coming about again, and then we can find some good trades. Until next time, guys, happy trading. Take care. Bye bye.